What's going on, guys? I'm Faraz Siddiqui from Upper Hand Fantasy. What a ridiculous offseason. Tyreek Hill gets traded to Miami, gives Tua one of the best playmakers in the NFL, and now Patrick Mahomes is stuck with JuJu. Let's get into it. Now, from a pure football perspective, this move helps Jaylen Waddle in terms of efficiency. More space for Waddle to work, given the fact that defenses have to pay attention to Tyreek Hill. But from a volume perspective, Jaylen Waddle saw 140 targets last year. We thought that could potentially go up this year. With Tyreek Hill joining, that's not going to happen. I think Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins brought Tyreek Hill in to be their version of Deebo Samuel. Mike McDaniel coming over from the Niners, he wants that guy. Get the ball in his hands near the line of scrimmage, let him do his thing. Miami was extremely pass heavy last season, but this is a new coaching staff, not the same philosophy. So we can't assume that they're going to be pass heavy this year, even with the extra weapons. San Francisco, when Mike McDaniel was there, Deebo, Ayuk, Kittle, they were still 31st in pass attempts per game. Mike McDaniel's specialty is in the run game, so I'm not expecting enough targets to go around for both Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek Hill for either of them to be top 15 options this year at wide receiver. Before this trade, both of them were going off the board top 10 in underdog best ball drafts. Let's not forget about the magic that we saw between Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. The only magic that we're going to see out of Tua this year is if he disappears into thin air for Teddy Bridgewater. Dolphins fans, come at me. Come at me. Before I go more into Tyreek Hill, if you haven't liked this video already, please do so. It would help me a ton. Tyreek Hill was already a relatively volatile fantasy wide receiver, and now I think he's going to be even more volatile. He was a high-end wide receiver 1, but I think now I'm bumping him down to a high-end wide receiver 2. Jaylen Waddle, unfortunately, I'm going to have to bump him down to a low-end wide receiver 2. Tyreek's going to have to drop where he was early first round all the way down to like mid-third if I'm going to consider him. Even at that price, I'm going to be a little hesitant. But if Waddle ends up fourth round or so, middle of fourth round, end of fourth round, I think I'll be all right with that. I think, in PPR leagues, out of the slot, more room to work, I think he'll be okay. He doesn't become like fantasy irrelevant or anything like that, but I just think that his upside isn't going to quite be there in an offense that might not be as pass heavy. Mike Gesicki is probably next up in terms of target distribution, but this move definitely hurts him. You're basically setting aside another 120 to 140 targets for Tyreek Hill, so it's not going to leave that much for Gesicki. I'm likely out on Gesicki this season, but like, listen, if he drops to like the 12th or 13th round, which I doubt he will, sure, I'm back in, but that's probably not happening. Cedric Wilson's over here like, yo, I thought I was supposed to be the guy. What happened? Oh, never mind. I'm rich. It's cool. I can totally see the Dolphins moving on from Devontae Parker. If they do cut him, they'll save about $3 million against the cap, but they'll also have about $5 million in dead money. But if he's still on the team, I'm not looking at him for fantasy. Now with the addition of Tyreek Hill, you have to elevate Tua, right? Kinda. I don't think I'm ready to elevate him to like a top 12 quarterback or surefire QB1, but I think top 15 seems about right. Just because a quarterback has weapons doesn't mean that they'll necessarily be a top fantasy option. He still has to prove himself, and this is his chance. And if he was a proven QB, maybe they say, okay, let's put the ball into his hands. Let's make this a more pass-heavy offense, but I'm just not sure that's the case just yet. And if Tua can't take advantage of this situation, I can totally see the Dolphins leveraging the 2 first-round picks that they have in 2023 to fill that hole at quarterback, just like they just did with the Broncos. And by the way, Teddy Bridgewater happens to be on this team as well. He knows what's up. All right, so let's move on to the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill, that was like the identity of that Chiefs offense. And now without Tyreek Hill, defenses are just gonna have an easier time going up against Patrick Mahomes. And then you consider a lot of defenses actually already kind of figured them out, and they played those high safeties, and they've kind of forced Patrick Mahomes to dump it down on almost every play. And now without Tyreek Hill, what are they gonna do? They're going to have to switch identity. Mahomes is a great quarterback, but as of right now, I'm avoiding him in fantasy without Tyreek Hill. I'm not viewing him as this upper echelon fantasy quarterback right now, and no, Mecole Hardman is not going to fill that Tyreek Hill role. As the season was going on, Hardman was actually rotating with Byron Pringle, and as the season went on, Byron Pringle started running more routes than Mecole Hardman. So I'm not really sure what kind of role Hardman's going to play next year. The Chiefs really haven't showed confidence that he would be a full-time player. But with that being said, Pringle is gone, Demarcus Robinson is gone. So Hardman, could have some opportunity to potentially have some big games, and I don't think he's going to be a reliable fantasy option, but he's going to have those games where he catches those long touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes. I just don't think defenses are really going to care about Mecole Hardman that much, so maybe he'll catch a couple over the top. But the targets have to go somewhere. Obviously, first, Travis Kelce. After that, JuJu will be the primary target at wide receiver out of the slot. And I'm really hoping the Chiefs can address the perimeter wide receiver potentially in the draft. Maybe they choose someone early in the draft. That's the hope. And if not, more targets to a running back not named Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Travis Kelce is going to be considered late first round at this point, latest second round. At least he has another wide receiver to take some pressure off of him in JuJu. But, you know, most people who are watching this video probably think JuJu is hot trash. Damn! Nice segue. Listen, JuJu is not going to be that receiver on the outside who's going to separate against man, against press coverage, but the Chiefs aren't going to ask him to do that. He's going to be running out of the slot. He'll have mostly free releases out of the slot against mostly safeties, mostly linebackers. Most of the time, you're not playing man-to-man against slot wide receivers. He's going to be fine, and as of right now, he's going to get the targets. He was a wide receiver 2 for me before this news, and I still think he's going to be more of a PPR wide receiver 2 after this news, because I think his depth of target will be relatively low. Just not as exciting as it was before this news, before the offense took a hit. All right, so let me know in the comments what you think about this trade. If you like these videos and you want more of them, please subscribe to the channel. That would be awesome. See ya.